Hey, everybody. Thank you for being here. It's me, Amy, and I want to thank you so much for joining this How to Outwit a Wizard launch party. I'm just going to be here for a little bit, answering any questions you've got and doing a little bit of reading from the book. So if anyone's out there right now, and if you've got questions, if you're on YouTube, because we're live on YouTube, we're live on Facebook. If you've got questions, just drop them in the comments. I should be able to see them, and I will answer them as they come in. So yes, I see someone's giving me a thumbs up. I've got a few eyeballs on here, so that's great. So I guess I will start with questions. Has anyone, are you reading it now? Have you finished the book already? Does anyone have a question about the book so far, or any just comments about it? Because I'd love to hear them or see them. And if you're thinking of questions, I will tell you that, hi, Charlotte from England. I put this at 3:00 because I wanted to make sure I got some of you overseas, because I know that if I do this at 6:00 in the evening here, my time, it's a lot later for you. So it's harder for you to come on board. So thank you for being here. Thank you so much. I will say, and I've said this in my newsletter a lot, so I'll just say that, I know that How to Fake It with a Fae took so much of my time and energy. So when it came to writing How to Outwit a Wizard, it was a struggle to write it. Probably more of a struggle than to start for most books. And it took me a while to get into it. And I didn't want to push the pre-order back. So, because I know some people, like influencers, I'm trying to get the physical book out to, but it's getting out later but that's just how this one is, because I didn't want to push the pre-order back so that I could have all my physical books on hand. I wanted to get it out to readers, get it out to everyone, so that you go ahead and read it and enjoy it and hopefully love it, and hopefully love Blair and Devlin as much as I do. So yeah, I don't know why it was so hard. I think part of it was so hard because I had put so much focus on Addison and Phelan that I had so much love for them. It was almost hard to just sort of to distance myself from them. Have you ever felt that way about a character? Like you just love characters so much, or after you've read a book, you have that book hangover where you just don't want to read another book. You just want to just be with those characters in that world for a really long time. You don't ever want to stop. And so it's hard for you to move on to another book. I know I've had that with romances, especially. I think The Hating Game was one of those. I sat there and I read that book 3 times in a row. I just read it, then I read it again, and then I read it again because I love that book so much. Has anyone ever had that happen to them, where you have a book that you love so much, you just want to close it, open it back up, and start it over? Hi. Well, let's go through comments. Hi, Charlotte in England. Hi, Anita. Hi, Dolores. Hi, Robin. Dolores hasn't gotten the book just yet. That's fine. Take your time, Dolores. It's not going anywhere. Hi, Robin. Yes. Sometimes characters are very easy to love. And yes, Anita, sometimes I wonder what they are doing too. Sometimes I wonder. And then Marcia. Hi, Marcia from Milwaukee. So yeah. And so I was just going to spend some time then reading a little bit too. I just felt like that with the sweet tea. Oh, Charlotte says she felt like that with the sweet tea. She has the first 10. So like, you don't want to leave those characters. You just want to be with those characters and live with those characters. And you don't ever want to leave that world. I know what that's like. I do. Especially with sweet tea. I have several favorite books in that series. Several. One of my favorites is book 4, Southern Sorcery. That is the first book where, for those of you who've read it, where Rufus really comes in and he makes everything just really, really bad. And he connects and he has that tie with Pepper. And that was one of my favorite books. that's one of my favorite books in that series. I have several favorite books, but I don't want to get too far into how many of them I love because I don't know how far readers have read, but that's one of my favorites. Yeah. So I want more sweet tea books. Okay, they're coming. They're coming. Trista wants more sweet tea. They are coming. Yes, I just started working last week on the next book. Yes, they are coming. Don't worry. Oh, I binged the sweet tea series when I was sick last year and loved it. Thank you. And Anita's up to book 18. Oh, Anita, you still have so many more. I think it's like, where are we at? 25? 25 or 26? It's a lot. It feels like a lot. So I'm going to read a little bit. We're going to segue into, I'm going to read a little bit from chapter 1 of How to Outwit a Wizard. And then you can ask any questions, whatever you've got, throw them at me. Okay. Chapter 1. Magic lives in a well, one so deep that you can't see the bottom for how full it is. If you drop a bucket into that well and pull it up, it's overflowing with power, shiny, shimmering magic that sloshes and slurps over the sides and spills onto the ground. Power that's ready to be harnessed and used. But what happens if a well doesn't have a spring to replenish it? That well goes dry, just like my family's magic is doing now, and there's only one way to replenish it, for my sisters and I to marry. It's antiquated, right? Totally makes no sense, but magic, like life, is always in a state of flux, and in order for it to replenish, a new cycle must be birthed, and for me, that means marriage. Yes, in the 21st century. Which brings me to today. Castleview Books is my family's magical bookshop. Everywhere I look, there are shelves and shelves of books. The spines span the colors of the rainbow, and they're lined up perfectly, alphabetically. The surface is dusted and the wood polished to a bright sheen. The whole place smells of paper, glue, leather, and magic. Oh, yes, you can't have a magical bookshop without that, now can you? Glancing out of the lead-paned windows, I spy the blue witch lights flare, signaling that a customer's about to enter the store. I drop my cleaning rag on the counter and ready myself. Shoulders back, chin up, slight smile, nothing too bright, nothing forced. Because whenever I force a smile, I look constipated. Right on cue, the door blows open and in steps a witch wearing a long ebony coat, flowy black slacks, and red stiletto boots. Her eyebrows and lips are penciled to severity, and with the thanks of makeup, penciled to severity with the thanks of makeup, but Mrs. DeWalt is a pussycat, as long as you don't cross her, which can be said for pretty much any witch, I suppose. Mrs. DeWalt, are you ready for your monthly visit into a book? I've got some great stories for you to choose from, I say with a knowing pump of my eyebrows. I know how much you like romance. Her sharp gaze sizes me up as if she's surprised to see me, which of course she shouldn't be. I'm here every month. I literally see Mrs. DeWalt all the time. We are best buds. I know what she likes, and I line up a curated selection of books for her every 30, sometimes 31 days. Today, I've got some sweet romances for her. Because you see, in Castleview Books, you can live out whatever story you'd like. Just jump into a book and spend the next several hours becoming your favorite character and living out their story. Yes, I was going to stop there just for a moment. Oh, you're welcome for reading, Dolores. Anita, do I have a favorite place to write? I write in my office. I don't have a favorite place, but my office is one. I could probably write anywhere. I also sometimes write outside, not as often as I would like because it's so hot. It's been so hot this summer. But yeah, I do. Trista wants to go to that bookshop. Me too. I want to go to that bookshop. Very much a magical bookshop. So I will tell you what I'm thinking for the next book, which will be Chelsea's book. Maybe Chelsea will wind up stuck in a book. that would be nuts, right? I think stuck in a book, can't escape, nowhere to go, with probably someone who will become her boyfriend, who she hates, obviously, because you can't be stuck in a book that you love with someone who also care about. It's not any fun. But tell me what y'all think about that. And I'm also thinking, I'm also still looking for titles for, not necessarily titles for this one, but for others. Let me go back a little bit. So we can do a werewolf the next book, or we can do a vampire the next book. Robin asked if I have all 7 books thought out. No, I don't have all 7 books thought out. I rarely ever work that far ahead. I kind of have ideas of things, but never thought out that far in advance. I know that there are some writers who are very methodical. I have friends who are very methodical, who will think every single little piece out before they go on. That's just not how I work. And it's not because I don't like to. It's just because I just work in smaller sections, I guess. But so Chelsea, so her book is going to be next. I'm not skipping any sisters. We have Addison, Blair. Now next book will be Chelsea. That'll be coming out next year. So what do we want Chelsea to have? Oh, werewolf. No vampires? Anyone want Chelsea to have a vampire? Vampire or werewolf? What does everyone say? When will they be available in audio? Charlotte asks. Yes, Podium has acquired the rights to all these books, the whole series in audio, and How to Fake It with a Fae is coming out in September. That's in my newsletter. I posted that last week in my newsletter, and I think it's like the 24th. I'd have to go back and look, but the 24th, and you're going to love, love, love Addison and Phelan. I love them so much. Their voices, the actors are amazing. When I heard them audition, I was like, yes, yes, that is my Phelan. Yes, it is my Addison. And I think Addison was probably harder to cast than Phelan, but yes, because really to get the lightness of tone, and because Addison's very light, right? She's a very light character in terms of just her demeanor. She's a very sweet person, very caring, light. So I had to get that lightness of voice in the actress. And then Blair is a little bit, she's not like that. Blair is much more sarcastic and little, not grittier, but just not as sweet. Blair's not going to be as sweet. She just isn't. And she's a little bit more jaded. I think that's the way to put it. Blair's a little bit more jaded, especially with the past and what happened with Devlin. So she's a bit more jaded. And so, and I know the actress who played Addison, she's going to be the actress for all of them. She will be able to then make Blair come to life too. I don't know when that's coming out yet, but hopefully within the next 6 months. I'll keep everyone posted, of course. Okay, we're saying werewolf. Oh, wow, werewolf. Everyone wants vampire with the empath sister. That would be Emery. So that'd be way down the line. Emery would be that. We want werewolf shifters. That's what everybody wants. Werewolf shifters. Hallmark. I don't know. No one's reached out to me about anything about, we're asking, Lori, are you asking Hallmark movies for these? No one has reached out. So if anyone has a contact at Hallmark, hey, let them know. These are available. But they do have that feel, right? Sweet, light, fun, romance. And I am doing a giveaway for this one. I don't have physical copies in yet because, like I had said, this book came down to the wire. So as soon as I had it edited and ready to go, I had this one. I didn't have this one. I had more space in How to Fake It with a Fae between finishing it and publishing it. So I was able to get physical copies out, but I'm still waiting on physical copies. But yes, I am going to have a contest here. So I'm giving away at least one maybe 2 signed paperbacks. And just anyone who comments in here is going to be eligible. So you can comment on anything, ask a question about anything. If anyone has a question, I'm all for it. Ask me anything. You've got me for at least 15 more minutes. So if you have a question about the characters, Nana, the parents, heroes, what am I reading? What am I not reading? Let me know. And I will gladly answer anything you've got. How many books will be coming out next year? At least 3. At least 3. What will they be is a really good question. A sweet tea. For sure we'll have a sweet tea. And then hopefully 2 more of the 7 sisters. So we'll get to Chelsea and we'll get to Dallas. Because I'm going to go in order. And that's how we're going to do it. Robin, she was shocked about Nana. I know, that was crazy. And that was I didn't plan that. I did not plan that. Somebody, an early reader, an alpha reader, messaged that they said something about the ending, that they only gave endings 10 to endings and like a 10, like 1 out of 10, like an ending was only a 10 if somebody came back to life or something crazy happened. And so that's actually how Nana came back. I never planned on Nana coming back, but that person said that. And I thought, wow, that's a great idea. I'm going to run with that. So then that's how Nana came back. I never planned that ever. What is my favorite genre to read? Romance, rom-coms, for sure. Rom-coms. I'll sometimes read romantasy, but rom-coms. So if anybody has any great recommendations for rom-com, I'm always willing to take them because you can never read too many. How do I map out the books and create characters? There are several ways to map out books. There are certain structural points that I look at, I guess. So I know that by halfway, especially in a romance, I know by halfway point, whoever my main character is, they have to be making a big shift. Like they're going to have to decide that they might think the other person is okay. So I'll kind of work everything up into that point. So what is my main character's, what do they think about themselves that isn't true? And that's where you kind of start. What do they think about themselves that isn't true? Like, and generally that's very easy with someone like Addison or even Blair, or Blair. I don't want to give too much away about Blair, so we'll go to Addison. She doesn't think she's lovable, right? No one can love her. So that's what she thinks about herself that isn't true. So then everything that happens up to her, with her, everything that happens to her that leads her up into the halfway point has to sort of deal with that. So no one can ever be with her. Well, great. Worst thing that can ever happen to this person is now they have to be with someone. Now they've got to get married. And then after they have to get married, then now they're stuck with someone who they can't stand, pretending that they're in a relationship. So that's sort of how I map out, like, what is the one thing the character believes about themselves that isn't true? What is their overall goal? And for hers, it was to marry, basically. And then we move from there. And that's how I kind of work on a book. So everything else kind of fills itself in, and I have to fill things in as I go. What's my favorite trope? Probably enemies to lovers. And it's very simple why I like that so much. It's because you have a farther bridge to gap. So if we're going from friends to lovers, which I've read some great friends to lovers, you can have a bridge to gap, but if you're enemies, one person's over here and one person's over here. And we have a really big, wide gap to fill in order to come together. Friends to lovers, I don't feel like it's as far. And plenty of writers can prove me differently. Prove me wrong. Please, please do. So that's why I like enemies to lovers, because there's just a bigger journey that each character has to make. Do you have any tips for someone starting out in writing? Do I have any tips? Yes. My number one tip that I would give anyone is, and I don't know if it's a tip, you might not like it too much, but it is know what you do well and then do that as big as you can. So know what you do well. If you're funny, know that you do that well and then make it as big as you can. Like dive headfirst into being funny. If you love romance, like, or whatever you love, just dive into it as hard as you can and don't pull back. That is my biggest tip. And that's just from a craft perspective. Business would be, I don't even know what I would say in terms of business, but for craft, know what you do well and do that. And don't be ashamed of it and don't back out of it. Just hit it hard. Yes. Anita says she likes the idea that two people getting together can heal a rift between two families. Me too. I think that's a great journey that can happen within two people, healing a rift between families, because you're healing a lot of people at that point, right? You're not just healing one character or two characters, you're healing, the whole family. More than that. All right, Trista. Oh, Trista says she's so sweet. She wants to be left out of the drawing. Oh, she can only do ebooks and audio. I'll include audio for this too. So it'll just be whatever a person's preference is. I don't care. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I want everyone to have equal chance at a book. So whether your choice, your signed paperback or an ebook, that's fine. And I'll go back through comments and I'll pick these tomorrow. So we'll do it tomorrow and I'll post it on Facebook. And is anyone watching on YouTube? If you are, just because YouTubers should be able to comment. If you're watching, yeah. No, I think everyone's on Facebook. I'll go look at YouTube comments too, just to make sure I haven't missed anybody. But I'll make sure everyone is entered. So no worries. No worries. So I guess we've got a few more minutes and we have oh, see, Cho is on YouTube. Thank you. Thank you for commenting. I see your comment. Yay. Thank you. We've got a few more minutes. If anyone wants to say where they're from, I know a few people have said where they're from, where you're from, what books you love to read, just pop them in there. Oh, I bet I can't imagine being dyslexic. It's probably hard to find a book to read. Robin asked if I'm more active on Facebook or Instagram, probably Facebook, but I try to post on both places and I try to stay on top of Instagram, especially messages. I miss my notifications a lot and I miss them on Facebook a lot, but I try to look at both, but it's probably mostly Facebook. McKenna's from Utah. Hey, McKenna. Is it cold in Utah yet? Doesn't Utah get cold early? Am I thinking of other places? Because it is hot here. It's been like 100 degrees these past weeks. Oh, Lori, hasn't got far enough to see what's probably causing the problem. You just keep reading. Dolores is in New York. Alexis is in Mesa. Robin's in Washington State. Idaho. Trista's read all my books so far. Oh, Trista, thank you. That's awesome. What's my favorite seasonal drink? Snack. I think I love anything pumpkin. When I was little, my mom would make, I don't know if anyone's had this recipe. It was pumpkin ice cream. Take a graham cracker crust and you would mix pumpkin pie filling, some other stuff with vanilla ice cream, mix it all up, stick it in a pumpkin pie crust or a graham cracker crust, and then freeze it. That was one of my favorites. That was before pumpkin became a thing. I love pumpkin. I'm a big pumpkin person. In fact, and I'm trying to cut sugar out, so I don't know how this is going to work, but Stoke brand cold coffees makes a pumpkin coffee, cold coffee that is amazing. And I've looked forward to it the past couple of years. I might have to buy at least one container of it this year, but it's really good. That's one of my favorites. And I like peppermint too, but not as much as pumpkin. McKenna, thank you, McKenna. Oh, Alexis says it's still hot. Oh yeah, in Mesa. I'm sure it's very hot in Mesa. I can't imagine. And McKenna says it's still warm in Utah, right? Yeah. Lori's in Ohio. It's probably still hot in Ohio too. Oh, Cho says she's been listening to Sweet Tea and when she's going through rough patch. Thank you. Oh, great news about Sweet Tea. Hollis just finished book 12, audiobook of Sweet Tea. So as soon as she gets that to me, that should be up this month. For those of you who love audiobooks, September, we should have number 12 Sweet Tea. I know I'm really slow on those, and I apologize. I am really slow on getting those out, but it's just kind of, I don't know. I have a lot going on. And so sometimes I forget. I literally just forget, oh, I probably need to get an audiobook out. And then someone will email me and say, hey, Amy, when's the next Sweet Tea audiobook coming out? And I go, oh, let me ask Hollis if she can get in the studio. That's exactly what happened last month. And I said, hey, Hollis, when can you get in the studio? And she said, oh, well, I can do it this month. Great. So we're on 12. So then I'll try to get her for at least 2 more, maybe 3 next year. I'm going to try for 3 so because we can start catching up. We can play catch up on those books. Anita loves pumpkin baked goods, but not so much the drinks. Hey, I get it. Everybody's got their thing. They don't have, Charlotte doesn't have pumpkin pie filling in England, but they can do maple syrup drinks. And I bet those are delicious too. Alexis loves Sweet Tea. Thank you. Texas is cold. Oh, at 80 something. That is cold in Texas for right now, I would think. And McKenna says Alexa can read Kindle books. So for any of you who have reading issues, Alexa will read the Kindle book to you too. And maybe that will help. I don't know. Maybe it won't. I know I think that would be very hard, really more than very hard, to love something so much, but have to struggle to enjoy it. Like reading. You love reading, but it's a struggle to enjoy that. So in a way, I guess the Kindle's a real blessing to be able to read that and enjoy it. I have a question for all of you. For those of you who finished Outwit, and who finished Faye, who was your favorite hero? Phelan versus Devlin. I can imagine a fight. Gosh, what was that? Mortal Kombat. Phelan versus Devlin. Fight. Caramel apple spice. That sounds good. I haven't had that. Don't make you choose. Okay, I will make you choose. Oh, Lori's already choosing side D for Devlin. Robin, hard to think of someone topping Phelan. I know, he's so grumpy. But a big softie on the inside. Great question. Okay, great question. I do have big news that'll be coming out in the next month or so, and I'm really excited to share it with you, but I don't have anything for right now. So, heroes. Do we love grumpy, crusty, soft on the inside? Or what you see is what you get, and they're just kind of like, this is who I am. But they're not grumpy on the outside. They're just very not grumpy, I guess. Alexis asked, what is up next? I think what you're asking me is the news that I'm saying that I can't share yet. So I'm just asking, what heroes do we love? Grumpy, not so grumpy. I know. I love a grumpy teddy bear too. Robin likes grumpy, flirty boys. I get it. What you see is what you get, Lori says. Oh, grumpy to the world with a soft spot for the right one. Yeah. Charlotte likes Robin's grumpy flirting. Yeah, grumpy flirting. And then Dolores does not like grumpy, but she can also see how grumpy would be good too. Yeah, there's like a fine balance to have there. Grumpy, but not too grumpy. Grumpy Teddy most of the time, but what you see has its place too. Trista, I guess it just really depends on the hero. I read a really great romance. I don't know if anybody's read any Abby Jimenez, but in her book, Just for the Summer, the hero sent out surveys to the heroine, like surveys, would you be interested in this? And it was the funniest thing. And I loved it so much. Can I do a reverse grump? Robin starts off like a cinnamon roll, loving everyone, and then meets the one and starts pushing everyone away to protect her. That's very funny. I like that. Christian likes hard candy, not always grumpy, but has definite opinions or ways. Yeah. Is there anyone you enjoy? Charlotte asks. Oh, like well, I think it just depends on how the character's written. That's a really good question because I always like enemies to lovers, grumpy, but I have also read plenty of books where heroes weren't grumpy, but I've just really liked them. I've just really liked non-grumpy regular guy heroes. I'm like, oh, that's a great hero. Not so like I think all of Abby Jimenez's books, the ones that I've read, none of the heroes are grumpy, but they all work, and I've enjoyed all of them. I thought they've all been really fun. Tough werewolf shifter until he meets her, right? That's always fun. Charlotte says, Robin, you're on to something. Yeah, starts out as a cinnamon roll, loving everyone, then he meets the one and starts being like, get out of here. That's funny. Yes. Because then that would be funny because then the heroine would be like, what is wrong with you? You were fine 5 minutes ago and now you're being weird. Anybody else? Anybody else have any questions, comments, concerns? Charlotte was laughing. Charlotte was laughing over there in the UK. It's starting to rain here. It literally hasn't rained in like 3 weeks, and now it's raining. Outside, I don't know if you can hear the thunder. Lori says no one can figure out what's wrong with him. That's right. No one can figure out what's wrong with him because he's suddenly so grumpy, and maybe he doesn't even realize it. What's wrong with him? Why am I acting like this? Why am I being so in this way that I've never wanted to be before? Y'all are brilliant. Trista says, when I think grumpy but soft for the right person, I think grim. Yes. That is kind of like him, like, yes, that is him. Yes. So I finished up Grimm this year too, and that was if none of you have read Grimm, it's very different from everything else I've written. It's Grimm's book. It's a male book, but the first book is one of the best books I've ever written, and it's right up there with How to Fake It with a Fae, Grimm, Southern Magic, Southern Sorcery, Southern Beginnings, Southern Magic Wedding, Southern Wishes. That's a great book too, if anyone's read that. It's right up there with all the, and there are other books too, like Soul Food Spirits. It's another really, really good book. It's right up there. Grimm is, that's a great book. What inspired you to write something from scratch? What do you mean, Charlotte? Like Grimm? So I guess Trista's read Grimm. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. I think I was really proud of that book. I'm really proud of that one. That one turned out really, really good. He's just a good character. Oh, manly story. Oh, what did do that? I just really liked that character, and I really wanted him to have his own series. I don't really know. I it just hit me like I wanted to do a Grimm series, or at least a Grimm book. I hadn't done it before. I really liked the character. I wanted him to have his own, at least one book, and then it became the 3-book series. And I hadn't written anything like that before, so it was a stretch. It stretched me too as an author, and it was a risk because it's kind of like, well, is anyone actually going to read that book and like it? Because it's not, it wasn't Pepper or it wasn't Dylan. It was Grimm. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the process. And sometimes as a writer, you just write a book that you love, and people might not, it might not be a reader's favorite, but it still could be the author's favorite. Yes, Robin saying goodbye. Oh, Charlotte, you're fine. You're good. And with that, it probably is about time for us to go. I want to thank everyone for being here. Like I said, I'll look back over comments. I'll reach out to, I'm just going to pick one person randomly, all our names in a scrambler, and one or two, I haven't decided yet. And I'll scramble up and I will reach out to those of you who get either the Kindle or the paperback of How to Outwit a Wizard. Thank you so, so much for being here. It's so great to see everyone, and I will talk to y'all. Will Grimm, I hate the senior series, all of them. Oh, will they end? I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I could see Grimm showing up in Sweet Tea. I can totally see that Grimm showing up there in that world with Pepper. I don't know if he would show up anywhere else, but for sure, that would be a great place for him to show up. Maybe we'll get rid of Sheriff Pirate and Grimm will be the next sheriff. Nope, I'm kidding. We're not going to get rid of Sheriff Pirate. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. Love all of y'all. Thank you so much. You have a great, great evening, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.